Is going on? Welcome to join my live stream. So I thought today I'll go on live. I haven't been on YouTube live for quite a long time, so I thought I'll come on there, see what's going on. First of all, I am going to be talking about biceps and I'm going to be going straight into it. But before I do so, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments below. After this live session, I am going to save it as a video so you guys can watch it as well. If you would also like to see more of these live sessions or have any questions you would like me to answer in these live sessions, let me know and I would answer it for you happily. So we're kind of straight into it. We're going to be training biceps and we're not going to be going through a full training session. This video is basically just some tips and tricks that I personally have used to train my biceps and improve my biceps over the years. And this is quite awesome because it's quite simple as well with this. All you need is a pair of dumbbells. And I know most of us are stuck in isolation at the moment and we don't have much equipment to play around with. So I hope this can come in handy for you guys. First thing, when you're going to be training your arms or biceps or trying to grow your biceps, is making sure, like depending on the weather of course, making sure you're warming up. And I find that's really, really important. So what I personally will do is I'll start off with a really, really high rep exercise. So I can start off with something as simple as a standing bicep curl. And if you are comfortable with it and you have really, really lightweight, you can stand and do some nice controlled movements. Now this is going to promote some blood flow to the arms, to the joints as well, and also get it moving. Now once you've got these muscles moving, it's easier for you to activate your biceps as well. And that's one thing. So I was always say number one is get a nice warm up in. Get those muscles working, get those joints working, because that's really, really important. And I think it's one of the biggest things that a lot of people neglect when they're training their biceps. A typical warm up set for me could range from 20 to 50 reps with an exercise. So call me crazy, but sometimes I kind of hate the idea of warming up because it almost sometimes seems like a waste of time. So I kind of add it into my sets, and I'm sure a lot of people do that too. It's not a waste of time, it's my way of warming up, just using lighter weights to pump out more reps. So that's tip number one. Now tip number two is isolating your biceps. Now, I'm sure most of you have a wall in the house, so you can put your hand right by the wall. What this is going to do is going to stop your elbows from moving backwards while you do this movement. So if you have that wall, what I'll suggest is keeping your elbows glued to the wall. Coming down, make sure you don't throw your dumbbell through the wall, because I feel like that's something that I could do. Now, tip number two is not just about the wall. We're going into a full isolation mode. So what we want to do with this full isolation mode is we want to make sure we activate the biceps. So what we're going to be doing is tapping the biceps. So tap the bicep, tap, 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 tap. Now, neurologically, this sends a message to the brain and says, activate those muscles, because your skin also has sensory receptors, which are actually going to be activated by the tapping. So if you guys try this at home, even without a dumbbell, you'll be surprised how much it works. Now, as I've also gotten warmed up as well, I personally like to train in something comfortable. So that's why I have my tanky here, which I find is really, really comfortable for me to train in. And also, when I see what I'm working on, I am actually motivated, and actually helps me to activate those muscle groups that I'm trying to work on as well. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me and I'll definitely put it in. So back on to tip number two, where it's isolation. That is going to help a lot with activating those biceps and making those biceps work. Now, even when we go in a little bit further into this, I'm going to go into tip number three, which is isolating even more. Okay, so isolating even more, I'm going to go into something called a concentration curl. And what I'm going to be doing with this one is I'm going to be coming down nice and low, keeping my elbows again glued into my arms. I'm going to come back up. You can see the muscles activated. But we're taking this to another level. So even after getting a few reps of this, getting those biceps nice and warm, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be coming up here and I'm going to twist. And when I twist, you can see the peak of my bicep activate. Now, if you are not getting that contraction that you want, we're going to go back to tip number two, where I said tap the bicep. So you get that activation flowing, and I guarantee you that you feel this. Now, ideally, a rep range for me with these would range between 15 to 20, and it's such a high rep range, and I know a lot of people wouldn't understand that. The reason why I like such a high rep range with biceps is it's so good for like activating the muscles, pumping as much blood flow in there. And if you guys research something called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, such a long word, is a type of hypertrophy where you're also trying to pump as much blood into the muscle, increasing your glycogen uptake as well, and also helping the muscles to grow. So me actually trying to incorporate this into my training, I find is such a big help with my biceps training as well. After that, that's when I can go into heavy weights. So sometimes people will ask me, so how do I train biceps with heavy weights? Using just light weights alone, sometimes it's not going to challenge your muscles as much. Luckily, you being stuck at home, you don't need crazy amounts of weights to even challenge your biceps. So this is only a 10 kilo dumbbell, so nothing crazy for me, but I've got heavier dumbbells at home. If I want to challenge myself, an easier way to do that is I'm going to be working the low rep range. But not just that. Now that my biceps are activated, this allows me to actually work and make sure I'm still hitting these biceps. You can still hit your biceps with heavier weights, guys, and you don't have to be hitting like 15 or 20 reps. One easier way to do this is start off by going with a normal controlled rep and a slow eccentric. Now you ask, and your slow eccentric just generally means a slow negative. So come down slow, and I'll do this about 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now come up fast. Generally, our eccentric phases is where we're actually stronger. So us slowing down the movement allows us to put a little bit more tension on the muscles. And you do a little bit of research and you find out that that is actually where you get most of your muscle tears, and that's where you grow the most. So sorry, I was just tilting my camera quite a bit. So when you have heavier weights, you can even work with a range of 4 to 6 reps, okay? And go up. So nice big one. Sometimes people get a little bit of a swing momentum, as long as personally, and this is a personal thought as well, I don't find anything wrong with swinging as long as it's not over the top and you're not heading your back or heading yourself, okay? So if I use a little bit of momentum while I'm doing this eccentric set to get the weight up, and I'm coming down slowly over my 5 seconds and it's a heavy weight, I personally find nothing wrong with that. People may say otherwise. Now I actually want to see in the comments below what your thoughts about that. So my main focus is the negative on this one. So even if I swing a little bit because it's a heavier weight and I come down with a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 control, I personally don't see anything wrong with that. And again, you're all entitled to your own opinion. So, and I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying you're wrong. I personally say whatever you find works for you is the best thing to do. So that's tip number 3 here. Now I'm going to go into tip number 4. Now, one of the things that if you guys watch my videos constantly on my Instagram at Kwameduah, check out my TikTok, Kwameduah official, is you see a lot of slow controlled movements, which I kind of did in my last one where I did slow eccentric movements. Now, this tip is more for people that can't activate their biceps. They've tried everything, they can't activate their biceps. What I'll say is drop the weights, okay? You do not need weights for this to start with. Then, sorry, question, Judge, I love doing negative arms workout. It gives the arms a really good workout, Josh Ferrari. It is, and I agree with you, Josh. It's literally such a good burn. And you literally feel that intensity and you can feel those muscles work. And it's nothing better than feeling your muscles work. So, moving on to tip number 4. Where we actually including some time and attention work in there and activation. Now we're going to be working with our concentric phase. We worked in the negative phase before. Now we're going to be working on the positive phases, if I was to say concentric phase. So where you're coming up. Now the most important thing, people actually forget this because everyone's like, oh, the tears happen in the negative phase. But guess what? Your activation is actually primed in your positive phase, or where you're coming up, or concentric. I don't know why I'm calling it positive, but it's more concentric phase. So while you're coming up with the weight, having even like a little bit of the smallest amount of resistance, tap your bicep again. When you get up to the top of the movement, we're going to create something called an isometric hold, where you're holding the muscles tight and squeezing, okay? This is going to definitely help with that contraction of the muscle. So what the concentric phase is, you are actually working to the peak contraction of the muscle. So you can do that without weights or do it with weights. But if you want to really activate your biceps, you're trying everything, you can't feel the biceps work, this is a great exercise for you. And I'll say, do this for about 6 reps, okay? With 5 seconds up. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you get to the top, hold it for 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Keep tapping. You can come down in a controlled manner, okay? See how I've actually kept my elbows still closer to my body in this one. You don't want to create too much movement or swinging your joints. And in an instance like this is when I wouldn't want to swing, because I'm trying to work on activation, I'm trying to work on isolation here. The last thing I want is too much movement, because it is going to take away from the muscle. So just again, I'm going to come up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give that squeeze. You should be able to feel it. And then come down controlled. And I can still feel that tension on my biceps. Now once I move my elbow back, I can feel that tension goes up. So there's a little bit of tips and cues that you can take away from this while you do this workout, or you try these tips at home. Guys, if you did enjoy this, please leave a thumbs up to this video. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's just a nice short live stream, but I am going to leave this video up as well. So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you want to see more of these live streams as well, I know they're nice and quick, but I want to help you. So send me your questions. Like, let me know. Send them on my Instagram. Write in the comments below, and I'll be answering. I'll be doing Q&As as well, and I'll be doing tips specifically for you guys to help you guys. I hope you guys are all staying really nice and safe and healthy during these crazy times as well. And hopefully the gyms open up back soon for you guys. But more importantly, hopefully your family and yourself are in good health. Thanks again for joining me, guys. Your boy is out. Peace.